The Cake Vampire by Kathy Howshed. When we last left Wigi, he had eaten the mayor's wedding cake and turned to a life of cake crime. Now no one is baking cake for Wigi, and he is getting very hungry. Chapter 4. Cake, cake, cake. Drawn-out cries could be heard from Castle Cakes every night. Wigi's first week cake-free was not pretty. The second week looked even worse. He had hoped that the town would change its mind. "We must stay strong," the mayor urged, after some people had complained about the constant cries coming from the castle. He didn't want to admit that he, too, was losing sleep. "I can't go on, Marzipan. This is the end of me," Wigi cried. He briefly considered a more traditional vampire diet. "No, Marzipan, I won't bite you," he reassured her. He caught a rat in the castle, but just the thought, made him turn the color of over-beaten buttercream, and so he let it go. By the third week, Wigi was a wreck. "Cake!" he cried out. "I need cake!" His hands trembled with sugar withdrawal.
I see the frosting calling my name. Sugar whispers driving me insane. Layers stacked high, it's my one true flame. Fork in my hand, I'm ready to dive. This is the moment I feel alive. Give me cake, I don't want a single break. No steak, no shake, just give me cake. Chocolate rivers, vanilla skies, sprinkle rainbows, I can't deny. Every crumb feels like paradise. Carrot or red velvet, I don't care. Slice it, dice it, I'll take it anywhere. Frosted dreams, they fill the air. Give me cake, I don't want a single break. No steak, no shake, just give me cake. Give me cake, I don't want a single break. No steak, no shake, just give me cake. Give me cake, I don't want a single break. No steak, no shake, just give me cake. Give me cake!
Marzipan, always the thinker of the pair, gave Wigi a good idea. "You're right. This isn't the only town. There must be other places that bake cake." A brief glow of excitement came to his lifeless eyes. "But this must be planned carefully," he exclaimed, as he pulled out a map, looking for another village that could provide him with his heart's desire. Most are too far to walk there and back in one night." "I will have to fly," Wigi decided. Wigi typically avoided his bat form. He was an awkward vampire, to be honest, and even more so as a bat. His sonar always seemed off. He was afraid of heights, and hanging upside down gave him a headache. Nonetheless, as a bat, he had more options in his search for cake. At nightfall, he would turn into a bat with a twirl of his cape, a puff like a cotton ball, and the sound of popcorn. Then, as a bat, he would grab Marzipan by her curly little tail, and off they would go to one of the surrounding towns or villages. his love of cake turning him into a criminal, no longer just the cake vampire, but also the cake thief vampire. Most people who bake cakes expect to eat them too. His nightly visits out did little to make him more popular, nor improve his digestion. He would quickly shove his fangs into the first cake he saw, often leaving for the next house or town before he was even finished, the cakes hanging from his fangs as he ran. "Your vampire is leaving only crumbs," complained a fellow mayor from the town to the north. "At least you have some cake," complained the mayor to the south. "When he comes by, he leaves us nothing." Hey, he is not our cake vampire," the mayor insisted, not liking the tone of the others. "No one is making you bake cakes," he pointed out sharply. Word spread that the best way to rid your town of the cake vampire was to stop baking cake. Flyers were handed out by the VAB, Villagers Against Baking, and posters hung on cake vampire prevention, with the most popular slogan being, "No stakes, just don't bake." Wigi and Marzipan had to fly further and further to find him his daily dose of tart and gateau. It was becoming harder and harder to get home by sunrise. Flying on a full stomach with a pig in tow was no piece of cake. Wigi now had to carefully plan on the map just how far he could fly and still make it back home before sunrise. A safe cake circle was drawn on the map. All the towns and villages inside this circle could expect a visit from the cake vampire. Chapter 5. Wigi was tired. He was hungry, and he needed cake. He could hardly think straight. It had been days since he had sunk his fangs into even a crumb of cake. "Cake," he whispered when going to bed in the morning. "Cake," he sobbed when waking at night. Wigi pored over the map with Marzipan helping him to find a new place to get cake. Nope, they stopped making cake 2 weeks ago. Marzipan's snout was resting on a town to the west. Wigi placed a big red X on the map. No cake there either. Marzipan's right hoof rested on a small town to the south. Another X. "Oh, I don't dare go back there. Don't you remember what happened?" was the answer to her next suggestion, and another X went on the map. Marzipan danced over the map. Nope, no, not there. No, can't go there. Been there. No good. X, 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 X. It seemed hopeless. Finally, Marzipan indicated a small sea town just outside their circle. "Oh, it's too far, Marzipan." She remained steadfast. "There must be another town closer," he insisted. Marzipan rolled over the map from X to X to X. Wigi knew she was right. There was nothing left inside his safe cake baking ring. And Marzipan knew what it meant if Wigi was going to fly further than ever before. "I don't want to go without you," Wigi cried, pulling her tight to him. She explained the math to him. With less weight, he could fly farther. He had already lost a bit of weight from his extensive flying and inconsistent cake consumption. He was fitter than he had ever been. And he had to try. What other option was there? Fruit? To be honest, Marzipan didn't really want him to go without her either, but she didn't see any other choice. "You are a very brave pig," Wigi said, rubbing her ear the way she liked. This made Marzipan feel a little better, but her heart tightened in her chest. She buried her snout in his cape so that he would not see her cry. "Look on the bright side. You will have the whole castle to yourself. No battles for the remote control. and you can listen to farm radio without me moaning. Wigi set his alarm to go off right before sunset. He rose from his coffin and got ready, trying hard not to look at Marzipan. She stood on the windowsill, watching and waiting. When he was ready, he spun around, and with a bit of a puff, and the sound of popcorn, Wigi became a bat. He landed briefly on her back, scratching her ear with his thumb claw. As soon as the sun sank below the horizon, turning the sky as pink as marzipan, Wigi left. She watched him go until he was the size of a cake crumb.
Under the moonlight so pale and thin, his shadow stretches with a wicked grin. Flap, flap, the night calls him in to find the sweetness his fangs desire. Cake vampire is on the hunt tonight. Turn into a bat, take flight. Chocolate dreams and frosting fire. Fly straight, fly strong to your cake desire. Whiskers of stars brush his pointed ears. The frosting whispers he chases through fears. Marble layers or a velvet red. The hunger howls inside his head. Cake vampires on the hunt tonight. Turn into a bat, take flight. Buttercream clouds and sugar spires. Fly straight, fly strong to his cake desire. Candles flicker, he can smell the glow. A birthday wish he'll never know. Slice by slice he claims his throne. A cake vampire forever alone. Cake vampire is on the hunt tonight. Turn into a bat, take flight. Past your peaks his heart conspires. Fly straight, fly strong to your cake desire.
Marzipan, always the most positive of pigs, threw off her sorrows like a cape with a flourish. Sure, she was sad to be left behind, but it wasn't as if Wigi was never coming back. She couldn't remember the last time she'd had the castle all to herself. With a spring in her step and her bell tinkling, Marzipan headed to the TV room. She was going to be the queen of the remote tonight, binge-watching Dr. Pole, and then there was a documentary on the bush pigs of Africa. Chapter 6. The wind blew hard that night, and in his weakened condition, the journey was close to impossible for Wigi. But then, just when he was about to give up, Wigi got a whiff of something sweet. Energized by the possibility of cake, he pushed on. He landed in a heap in front of a bakery. The sign was rather plain, but through the window, Wigi could see cakes. Layered cakes, frosted cakes, big cakes, small cakes. Wigi's face pressed against the glass, his hands pawing to get through. The store was naturally closed, but Wigi had already proven that he was ready to be a criminal when it came to cake. He made quick work of the lock, picking it faster than a professional diamond thief. He was almost mad with hunger. His fangs tingled with anticipation. When the door finally opened, he was assaulted by the odors of chocolate, cream, lemon, vanilla, white chocolate, raspberry, and hazelnut. He was so overwhelmed that he didn't know where to start. He dove into the cake display, fangs out, ready to sink them into the first cake. To this day, he can't tell you exactly what happened. He suffered a sugar blackout.
forever a desert breeze. Dive in, sinking your fangs, sugar oblivion where nothing remains. Swimming in cake, drowning in sweet, a world of icing under my feet. Buttercream dreams in a velvet night, every slice a promise of delight. No escape, and I don't care. Cake forever, I'll stay right here. Buttercream! Dive in, sinking your fangs, sugar oblivion where nothing remains. Swimming in cake, drowning in sweet, a world of icing under my feet.
Wigi woke as his little toe sizzled slightly from the first weak ray of morning sun that came over the mountain. He rolled quickly into the shadows. What was he to do? He would never make it home now. He scurried into the back of the still dark bakery to hide. Chapter 7. All good bakers are early risers, and Halo Forn was no exception. He made his way down the street to his bakery. He was a thin man with a baby face. He wore no beard, which was uncommon this side of the mountain. One might have called him plain if it had not been for his eyes, which were the color of milk chocolate. He was already planning what bread and pastry to bake first when he froze in his tracks. The front door of his bakery was wide open. The window display looked as if someone had swum through his day-old tarts, macaroons, cup and bunt cakes. Crumbs and crusts littered the floor. Smears of chocolate like dried blood were on the walls. His heart beat like an electric mixer making whipped cream. He stepped into his store. Who would do such a thing? Hello? He called out tentatively. He slapped his hand to his forehead. If the person was still here, he thought, I certainly don't want to meet them. He hoped there would be no answer. Shaking his head in dismay, unsure where to start cleaning, he suddenly heard a quiet moan coming from his kitchen. Someone must be hurt, was his first thought. That someone had stuffed themselves on his tasty cakes, caramels and creme brulee, and now had a tummy ache was closer to the truth. Hello? He called out again, this time following the trail of crumbs and chocolate into his dark kitchen. He flipped on the light. As he did, a cream-curdling scream came from under his kneading table. Turn it off! Turn it off! For the love of cake, please turn it off! A desperate voice sobbed. Helu, sweet as he was, did so immediately. He walked slowly over to his kneading table and shyly looked under it. What he saw was a pale, overweight person with dark hair and a somewhat pointy nose. The chocolate smeared across his face, freckled with the cake crumbs, led him to the conclusion that this man in his kitchen was in some way responsible for the disarray in his bakery. Using his most assertive voice, Helu demanded, "Who are you, and what are you doing under my kneading table?" I'm Wigi from the Castle Cakes," he answered in a small voice, trying to wipe the chocolate from his face and only managing to smear it more. I'm too far away to make it home, and I needed to get out of the sun." Helu, patient as raising bread, looked at Wigi expectantly, for this alone did not explain anything as far as he was concerned. Well, you see, this is a bit awkward," Wigi began, not daring to look Helu in his eyes. He said in an even smaller voice, I'm a vampire." Helu pulled the collar of his shirt tighter around his neck, turning the color of under-baked ciabatta. No, you misunderstand," said Wigi. "Not that kind of vampire." He seemed to be shrinking even farther back into the darkness under the kneading table. "Not that kind of vampire?" Helu squeaked. This was all a bit much for him so early in the morning with no bread rising or scones in the oven. What other kind of vampire can there be? Shame washed over Wigi. "Cake," he answered. At first, Helu was confused. "Are you asking for more cake? There's hardly a crumb of cake left in the entire bakery." But then his inner oven light went on. "You're the cake vampire?" Obviously, his infamy had made it over the mountains. "I thought this was just a story they told to scare new bakers," he said. Wigi shook his head in confirmation. Helu knelt down on the floor in front of the kneading table to get a closer look at the person under it. Wigi then told him his sad story. Not belonging to the proper vampires, his only friend being a stuffed pig, his weight problems, how the villagers stopped baking cake, then the sad search for cake, and how he ended up here in this small town, in Helu's bakery, under his kneading table. He tried not to cry. He sniffled a little. After Wigi's half-baked story, Helu sat quietly. The oven clock ticked loudly. Tick-tock, tick-tock. "So you ruined the mayor's wedding cake." Helu then scratched his head confused. "Why don't you just bake your own cake?" Wigi sat, his mouth hanging open. That did seem to be quite a good solution to his problem. Why had he never thought of it before? I don't know how," he mumbled. "You don't know how to make cake? I can fix that," said Helu cheerfully, confirming again his belief that there was little that a cup of flour and a few ingredients couldn't fix. "I can teach you how to make any cake you like." He walked over to the shelf full of books. He ran his finger along the spines until he found the one he wanted. "Baker's Rules, a Guide for the Young Baker," Helu read out loud. It has just about every cake you could ever need in it. The book was well worn, the corners frayed and bent. Chocolate and butter fingerprints made it difficult to know the original color of the cover. "So I could make chocolate cake?" Wigi asked. "Yes. Marble? Uh-huh. Yellow, cheese, truffle, coffee." Wigi was now getting excited. "Yep. Tiramisu, Sacha, torta, bouchon." Wigi was almost out from under the kneading table now. Yes, it's all in there, and I can teach you," Helu confirmed. "Although tiramisu is not really a cake," Helu began to explain.
Vampire walks in, all pale and grim. "Can you teach me to bake?" he asks on a whim. Helu grins wide with a rolling pin in hand. "Yes, I can, let's make something grand." Floor flies like powdered snow, fangs gleam dream under oven's glow. Marble, chocolate, yellow cheese, turtle, coffee, take your ease. Sasher, Bouchon, we'll do it all. Even vampires can bake, just answer the call. Do I bite the dough? The vampire inquires. No.
Hello laughs, let's stoke the oven's fire.
Whisk it, fold it,
Don't let it clump.
garlic free zone as the batter goes plump. A pinch of sugar, a dash of spice. Even undead can bake something nice. Mixing bowls spin, a sweet ballet. Hellu's kitchen makes night into day. Marble, chocolate, yellow cheese, turtle, coffee, take your ease. Sasher, Bouchon, we'll do it all. Even vampires can bake, just answer the call.
But Wiggy, dizzy with excitement and exhaustion from overeating and staying up way past his bedtime, interrupted him with a yawn. Oh, maybe we could do it tomorrow. And before Hilo could even answer, Wiggy had curled up and gone to sleep. So it sounds like Wiggy is in for some sweet dreams tonight. I just hope that Marzipan doesn't worry too much. Tune in to the next episode to see if Wiggy's cakes are a sweet sensation or a bitter flop. Thanks for listening.